So much so that we brought him back for another season here on Running with MJD. You can see his article on the Bauer Power Plays. He's got his FanDuel NFL Week 1 picks posted at thesportsgeek.com, and you've got him right now on Running with MJD. Ryan, what's up, brother?
How are you? How are you guys doing?
We're good, man. I gotta know, how did it go for you from your vantage point? Did you feel like you did well in the Running with MJD Listener League draft last week?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well in the second round. I think it was someone snagged back-to-back Mike Evans and then Keenan Allen, and I really wanted one of those two guys. It kind of handcuffed me. I wanted the next best available, in my opinion, with LaShawn McCoy. I really wanted one of those high-volume wide receivers in a PPR league. But besides that, I really like my team. We have a ton of depth in John Brown, Sims, Ted Ginn, Delaney Walker, Sterling Shepard. So a ton of guys that could really, I feel like, boom for us.
That doesn't sound good. That don't sound like you're excited. Let's get to this daily fantasy.
I'm excited. My starting team is great. But yeah, let's get to that
nonsense. Let's get to what we're here for, the daily fantasy. Ryan, let's go. Tell me about it. Who are your picks? Give me I want to know your expensive pick. Give me a mid-value guy, then your steal, your value guy if you want to go higher somewhere else.
Okay, so we'll start with the quarterback position. I'm not really looking to spend up too much this week. My favorite play, and I think it's going to be a pretty high-owned play, is Derek Carr. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean we're going to stop picking on the Saints defense. I don't think they've addressed it enough in the offseason. I mean, they let Browner go, which is an upgrade. But, I mean, they still surrendered nearly 300 yards, 3 passing TDs per game to opponents. Derek Carr averaged 2 touchdowns last year, and the Saints in only 2 games did not give up multiple touchdowns to a quarterback. Super high total to be a shootout. So that's really what we focus on. And I like Carr in the DFS because there's a little bit more of a stack play with him. You know who his guy is, and that's Cooper. When you're kind of don't know who's going to be Luck's guy. Is it going to be Hilton again, or is it going to be Moncrief? And then with Stafford, you're not sure if it's going to be Tate or maybe the new guy, Marvin Jones. My cheap guy, it's going to be the chalk play of the week, Dak Prescott. He's only $5K on FanDuel. If the price were to come out last week, he'd probably be $1,000. It's not $2,000 more. He's at home. He ran for 41 touchdowns in college, I think in 49 games or something crazy like that. He's built a rapport with Des Bryant. I think he threw him 3 touchdowns this preseason. And that 5K price point, he could really hit that 4 to 5 times value on his salary.
Hey, Ryan, for folks who may not have played a lot of DFS in the past or maybe have dabbled a little bit, but they're not experts by any means, when you talk about stacking guys, you're obviously talking about taking a quarterback and at least one of his primary receivers and trying to, basically go for the hookup, right? You're just looking for that big week to separate yourself from the pack. When you stack, though, how deep are you going? Like, are you going just QB1 receiver? You go QB2 receivers? You go QB running back receiver? How much variance do you have when you stack teams?
So that's actually something I looked at a lot this offseason. So you paid attention last year. One guy won $1 million on DraftKings last year with Big Ben, D'Angelo Williams, Martavis Bryant, and Antonio Brown. So it's kind of an eye-opener. And so I started looking into that. And if you have it like the game, we'll go to the Saints game or the Raiders game. They have a team implied total of maybe 26, 28 points. And that's 3 to 4 touchdowns. And then no guy is going to score 4 TDs. I mean, it's going to get spread around. So I think if the team has 2 primary guys, you can go 3 deep, especially on DraftKings with that flex. Gives you a little more, flexibility to maybe go 2 or 3 guys. So I like that. My favorite kind of low-owned, really contrarian triple stack this week, Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, and Jared Cook. hurts me to say that. Being a Jags fan, I'd love for those guys to put zeros across the board. But I really think that there's going to be Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good game, and I think the public will stay off Jordy Nelson thing of the snap count. He really only needs 4 or 5 plays to his value, and Jared Cook finally has a capable quarterback throwing the ball.
Yeah, capable quarterback. And as you know, you guys both know, the Jags have had trouble covering tight ends in recent years. They got a lot of new bodies there. But, Maurice, how long does it take when you've got a lot of new bodies on the defensive side of the football for everybody to gel?
The toughest situation, it shouldn't take that long with Jacksonville because they just run that cover 3 scheme. I think when you have those type of athletes, though, they have to know what they're doing. And so if you have a guy, especially when you have a lot of young guys you're relying on, they might have mental errors. They might mess up. They might not know all the details of the defense. And so that's where you get guys running wide open. But we've seen it before. I want to say last year, maybe. It was last year against the Colts. It might have been the first game or 2 years ago against the Colts, the first game, where the Colts went out. They lined up in a slot formation to the left, and then they motioned the running back out to the right, and they just let the tight end run right up the seam. Well, that's because it's a miscommunication. Someone didn't say anything. They might have assumed it. So when you have young guys and a lot of new pieces, you have to make sure the communication's on point.
Ryan, I know Maurice is big on Spencer Ware this week. He's big on him across the board this year. I'm looking at your power play, so I know how you feel about it. But tell us what your thoughts are on Ware in week 1.
I mean, Ware, if Charles is inactive like what it looks like he's going to be, it's a must play. I mean, he's extremely cheap across really all, the 2 websites. He's 4,400 on DK, and he's 5,400 on FanDuel. I mean, he had a big game last year against the Chargers, 96 yards, 11 carries, 2 touchdowns. And that's the thing, the 2 touchdowns that really stands out. This guy's good around the goal line. Even if Jamal Charles is active, which will pull me off him a little bit in my cash games, he's still going to get those goal line touches. The Chiefs are a touchdown favorite at home, which positively correlates to a big day from the Kansas City backfield.
Ryan, talk about what wide receivers are you looking at right now? I mean, there's some big time matchups. You have AJ Green going against Darrelle Reeves. Are you sticking with that, or are you going to go with Antonio Brown because he's such a big name? Are you a little nervous at him and Josh Norman?
So I'm actually a little bit off Brandon Marshall this year. I don't really like what went on in that Jets off season. Ryan Fitzpatrick holding out, maybe less reps, didn't maybe missed a few things. AJ Green, Darrelle Reeves, it's not quite Reeves Island anymore. He's given up some big plays. We've seen guys like Hopkins have really gotten the best of him. I think Green's a decent play, but this week if I'm spending up at wide receiver, it's going to be Julio Jones, who is, he's back in the dome where he just feasts on defenses. And last year he accumulated over 200 yards, 20 catches, and a touchdown against the Buccaneers, who were quietly in the bottom 10 when facing the pass last year, giving up big plays week in and week out. And Matt Ryan is his favorite target. He plays much better at home.
Ryan, give some general tips to folks, because we want folks to go to thesportsgeek.com and read your entire article here on your DFS plays, the Bauer Power plays for week 1. But just for folks maybe new to DFS, like I mentioned, are there some basic strategies that will help them advance tournament games versus cash games, certain positions you want to typically pay up for, and others that maybe you want to try to skip on? Just some general pointers. What do you have for folks out there?
So really, your quarterback position is kind of where you start with it. That's kind of where you build your stack. Actually, the stack starts with the quarterback. So that's kind of where you want to build it. Maybe if you play DFS baseball, you kind of know it starts and kind of ends with the pitcher. If your quarterback really struggles, because the quarterback's a position that can easily, if you roster a quarterback, hoping for 3-4, potentially even five touchdowns. So that's the position that you generally want to spend up on. Because quarterbacks are real expensive. You want them to hit that 2-3 times value. And when differentiating between tournament and cash games, your cash games are where you're going to look for guys that get the volume. You'll shy away from guys like a Sammy Watkins or a Deshaun Jackson in your cash games because they can easily put up 4 points just as much as they can put up 24 points. And that's not really your cash game. The cash game is 50-50, head-to-head, double up, where you're maybe spending $10 to $25 for one entry versus your tournaments where you're spending $2, $3, maybe $5 on your. So you want guys to have a little bit of a higher floor that give you and half the entries win in those cash game tournaments. So you just want to get generally a good score. So you'll want some guys like a Amari Cooper that I have this week for the cash games because you just notice that shootout. You know the volume's going to be there. You know, Golden Tate. In the tournament, that's where you'll target the more volatile players like a Sammy Watkins, like that. And then another stack that I've been looking at recently is the running back and defense stack. So I know you guys and myself, we love Lamar Miller this week. Typically, it's usually got a great spot at home, touchdown, basically, well, not quite a touchdown favorite against the Bears, but pretty close. And if that line holds true, it's going to hold true and well for Lamar Miller, who is going to really run the ball, run the clock, grind it out, get that volume touches, and then if they're playing with the lead, that means the defense is doing their job, forcing turnovers, giving the offense good field position.
Maurice, any last questions before we cut Ryan loose for week one?
Let's just be the last one. And what defenses in DFS do you target? Which ones have you studied that you know were giving up a ton of points and a ton of yards?
So this week, and I'll generally give you my rule of thumb for defense in season-long fantasy and DFS.
No. I'm talking about what defenses that you like players on the other team that you would target. So like say like the Bears or the Saints. What other defenses are there that you would like to go after if you're a DFS player? Like say if it's the San Diego Chargers, a defense that you like to go after, or Miami or whoever it may be.
Oh, okay. I get exactly what you're saying. Well, yeah. I mean, my top three defenses to probably go after would really be, and sometimes it's because the other team's offense is so good, kind of like the Saints. So that other team they're playing has to come out and score. So really, the top defenses I really love to target. Unfortunately, in the past, has been Jacksonville. I think I'm going to target them a little bit this week. Hopefully, they show some improvement. They spent an entire draft and free agency basically on defense. So, but this year, starting out, I mean, really Philadelphia, Cleveland, the Saints, Chicago, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and then a few defenses I shy away from are the big ones: Seattle at home, Kansas City at home. Guys that have players that can just neutralize offensive weapons like a Richard Sherman, and into the Saints and the Kansas City, just that entire defense. And Marcus Peters is a great corner as well.
All right, he is Ryan Bauer. He's going to be with us every Wednesday night previewing the Bauer Power Plays for the upcoming week. As Ryan, throw that Twitter address out there so folks can give you a follow. What are you at?
So on Twitter, it's at Bauer Power Plays, Bauer Power Plays, all one word. Give me a follow. I answer questions all week. Sunday morning, I'll be on there. Might be a little tough this weekend. I'll actually be in Vegas with a couple of my friends out there. So I'll be up, researching, putting out lineups and things. But all week I answer questions right after the show. So tonight I'll be there helping anyone make lineups, any questions, and then on Sundays.
There you go. If you want your own little DFS insider, check it out. Bauer Power Plays. That's Bauer for Bauer. Bauer Power Plays on Twitter. You can check out his entire Week 1 article up at thesportsgeek.com. Ryan, good luck to you. I'm not going to wish you luck in the Listener League because we want to crush you, but I'm sure you don't need it. So good luck this season in general. We'll be talking to you next week, buddy.
Mike, before he goes, how do you feel, Ryan, about us all being in the same division? Do you have any type of, it's me, you, Pilar, and Dempsey in the same division?
And the defending champ got thrown in there too, and Phil Backert conveniently finds himself in the other division. What do you think about that?
I actually meant to bring that up. I love being in the same division as you guys. To be the best, you got to beat the best. That's what you guys claim to be, I think. And I